All right. Hi, folks. Welcome back. We are here today to talk about Rundeck, Runbook Automation Release Notes 5.14.0. Welcome back, Forrest and Jake. What do you got for us today?
Hi there. Yeah, we're quick on the draw this time. We just dropped the 514 on Monday. So it's a lighter release this time. We internally had a lot of pressure to get some CVEs mitigated, and the team is working a lot on the back end. We have our RBA SaaS platform is one of our offerings, and they've been doing some work around that more on the back end, right, and ensuring that is solid. The interesting thing and fun thing for our SaaS platform customers is that they get some of these features, enhancements, things that we write and do ahead of the releases. So we go for internally, I guess we refer to it as cloud first releases. And we run it through all the test scenarios, and then we even let it kind of season on some internal portals for a little while, right? So when we release something, it's not like that was merged yesterday into the code base, right? It's merged and then slowly makes its way ultimately out to these these releases that folks can download. But they've been tested, and other things have happened through our SaaS platform ahead of time. We started that process, I would say 6-8 months ago, maybe longer. Engineering would probably tell me they started it sooner than that, but they have really helped us, catch and identify issues ahead of time, right before they, get out to these downloadable releases. So we've been spending some time on that. I will bring up the release notes. We'll just take a quick look. There's a few fixes, a couple improvements near and dear to my heart to the ROI features that we talked about last time. So let me get a share screen going. And I think I will just do my entire screen because I'm going to switch through some tabs and I don't want to break stuff.
All right.
See that okay? Make it bigger.
Yeah, make it a little bigger there.
And still bigger.
There we go.
All right. So we've got our release notes. Ton of CVE fixes, security fixes for those that are scanning the downloadable products, and few fixes to the Jira plugins. We actually use this internally as well. And we're running into some issues with some more creative field updates. And some improvements, like I just mentioned, to the ROI and job metrics plugins. We were finding after the release that, once we get all that data that customers have using it, we wanted to adjust how they operate a little bit with refreshing. So some fixes there, some alignments to button names, little things. Some field description updates, but like I said, most, by and large, all pretty light updates here. So in lieu of that, I think Jake has a plugin that he wrote a little while ago that he was going to share with the community. It's it'd be a community plugin out there that some folks might be interested in. Maybe it's something that with some momentum could make it into the product. And I can highlight some recent webinars and content that I did. That's of interest. I think the first thing I will mention is the PagerDuty YouTube channel does capture our OSS meetups. So we just had one of these, I think it was last week, and we brought in Phil Austin, who is a Rundeck consultant, and he had some really great insights on, the merging of AI and Rundeck and how he sees that going out in the market. If you follow, I think some of our socials, maybe on Instagram or I'm not sure all the platforms that it went out on, but even his clip around how he sees AI relating to the primary use case for Rundeck was pretty insightful. So you can watch that video here. It's right now, currently, it's our latest video up there. I think Mandy's probably got a link for you.
Yep, in the chat.
And then Dutch and I, if you've been around Rundeck for a long time, you probably know of Dutch as well. We brought back something we did a couple of years ago, which was the Ansible and Rundeck better together story. Why when we look at the open source version of Ansible, open source version of Rundeck, why do we see the community really putting those two things together, and what features are there? Dutch does these great demos of Ansible. He is our kind of our internal Ansible expert, and obviously very much a Rundeck expert. So we brought that back, kind of brought it, modernized it, showed it with the current product, etc., and some of maybe the few little enhancements we've done along the way. So that is out here in our webinars. You can fill out the watch on demand form here, and it will give you immediate access to that content. And then I think, unfortunately, this is still having some issues. Our university site, unfortunately, is down, so we will close that.
They're having a day, yeah.
Yeah, they are. It's not an internal page. It's hosted by another service, but yeah, those things happen.
Someone's getting paid somewhere.
Let's get to the good stuff, though. Jake put a chat and tell us a little bit more about the plugin. What drove the plugin that you did back maybe a year ago, I think.
Yeah, sure. So what I can do is share, starting with sharing my screen, which is always an adventure.
We get some weird banging, like is there a dog like banging on a table or something in the background? I'm not sure.
On my end?
Yeah,
I'm not sure where it is.
I think it's coming from yours. All me.
You're hearing it on my end, Andy?
Yeah, whatever it is, like some background in your mic.
Let me rejoin, because it seems like my connection on StreamYard is not the best right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Let me try.
Give it a minute. Yeah. See what happens.
In the meantime, I'll go back to just sharing my screen, and we'll talk about the repository that Jake put in the chat. I think I'm sharing. There it goes.
Yeah, there you go.
So he's got his sequential commands plugin. I'm probably not going to do this enough justice. We'll let him redo it when he joins. But I know that this was driven off of networking use cases, particularly updating or needing to iterate over things like Cisco commands, where you have to, you get into that command line interface. If you've ever run Cisco commands on the device, it's just ongoing cryptic commands, and then all of a sudden there's networking magic happening. So he put together a plugin to help facilitate that. And you're back. We're going to see how your audio is doing. I don't hear the banging noise anymore.
I'll make him off mute and see if we still hear it.
Oh no, that sounds better so far. Yeah.
Better? All right. Let's dig in. Yeah. So for those that are familiar with Rundeck, the typical mechanism for connecting to a remote device via SSH and then executing commands is using our node executor mechanic, and using that in tandem with the command step. So let me actually go ahead and show that here, Forrest. Let me open up Rundeck. And so, when you're building a Rundeck job, you have this command step, right? And you can type in a command here, and that will then get executed on whatever node you're targeting, which could be a server, but it could be a network device. And it's a single command. And then you could add a follow-on command. So, you could say, let's just copy some of these commands here, right? So if I do terminal length 0, I can add a command, and then I can add another command, and this could be the show interfaces command. So these get dispatched to your device, and the configuration for what protocol to use and how to authenticate, again, via SSH, and what your private key or your password is to connect to that device. That's all set through the node executor mechanic, which you can set at a project level, but you can also set it on a per node basis. So here in this case, in my project, I've got my default node executor is our SSHJ SSH node executor, and I can define all of that here. And so that dictates how the command and even our script step works. The limitation with this when it comes to network devices is that each of these command steps are a separate SSH session. And you run into limitations there when operating specifically against network devices, but even sometimes on compute hosts as well, when you need basically a stateful session. So you need to be able to execute another command where the second command is dependent on whatever the output or the state change was from the first command. So if we look at the commands that are in this first step here called SSH session, you'll see I've got an enable command, which for those that are familiar with Cisco iOS and Cisco network devices, the enable command basically elevates your permissions once you've connected to the device, and then you'll submit an enable password. So it's basically a second level of authentication. You'll first SSH to the device, but then you put in this enable password, and then you go ahead and execute whatever you want to on the device. In this case, we're just looking at the interfaces on the device. But the key takeaway here is that these commands all somewhat depend on one another, especially this enable password steps. And so you wouldn't really be able to do this using the traditional Rundeck, node executor, and command mechanic, because each of these commands that would be sent to the device would happen in their own session. And so, as soon as you start a new session, you can't send your enable password if you haven't sent the enable command first. So that's where this plugin, the impetus for this plugin came from, was trying to provide a more native solution for handling network devices. And what this plugin takes advantage of is this flexibility where a user can add new fields to the job step itself. So if I add a custom field, I can put in another command here, which might be, I don't remember all of the network iOS commands, Cisco commands, but I can say, config interfaces, right? So this will put me into maybe config mode, and I can.
So where Mia would be typing help.
Right, exactly. So I can label this step, and then I can just put in like the actual command, right? But this might be something like config inf, for example, if that's the actual command to be sent. And then what ends up happening is that these commands will be sent in succession of one another in a single SSH session. And so we can demonstrate that here, and then we'll dig into what the actual plugin code looks like. The beauty of this as well, though, is that it is harnessing the connection details that you can set on your per node basis. And so you don't have to configure that as part of the job step. And it's able to take advantage of the SSH key settings that you would put on your node as well. So we'll see that.
So it's using the node executor to make the initial SSH connection, and then it's iterating the commands in this step.
Technically, it's still not using the node executor. What it's using are the node attributes and the node construct, and then passing in those those node attributes as the context for how to establish that SSH connection. But the entire SSH connection mechanic is actually happening through the job step itself.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and demo this real quick. So actually, I have two nodes here. One is a Cisco router that we would use password authentication. The other one uses private key authentication. We're just going to do password authentication right now. We'll go ahead and run this here. And what you'll see, what's pretty nice about this is you can see that the command that we sent is the enable, and we get prompted for that password. And then we send that password, which you saw in that kind of second field of the job step config, and it doesn't show it here, right? But what you also saw is that the way that we sent it was using a secure job option, so it's not exposed in the job definition either. So it's a very, very secure way of both connecting to the device and then uplifting your privileges through that enable command. And then we can see the other commands, the subsequent commands that we send to then show interfaces. And so this is, again, just a Cisco router running in our cloud environment. And so then to close the loop on, the configuration for the node is if I search for Cisco.
Well, that leans directly into one of our popular use cases, right? I remember many, many years ago when I did actually have to log into Cisco devices and do that. That enable password was, the keys to the kingdom, and you didn't want to hand them out. So the ability to, let users perform some of these actions without having to give them a password is going to be great for users of this.
Right. It's definitely your archetypal use case of Rundeck, where you're putting those guardrails around a predefined, pre-approved workflow that requires the enable password. And then you can give the keys to that Rundeck job to a user, but you're not giving the keys to the kingdom to the user. So definitely follows
and obviously some of the steps, like if a step requires an input, you can use job options as inputs to those other steps. The same way you used a job option to input the password, it's not just limited to that password.
Correct.
Path, you could include it in a different string.
Right. Exactly.
To say, if you're gonna, add something to add an IP address to a firewall or something. I'm making it. Exactly. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Right. So here's the node, these node configurations that you see here. And so this is where what you're able to do is harness the existing native Rundeck construct. So I've added this node, and I've said the SSH password storage path is a key in our key storage. And sure, there are node executor settings here, but that doesn't really matter in this case. That would be only if we used the native command step. What does matter is this property here, and that tells the job step how to connect to the device and what password or private key to use. And so this is demonstrating that we could use private key or password when connecting to
and it's using the user and host combination there from the node as well. So it's connecting as the Rundeck user for your password one and the EC2 user for the key one.
Yeah, good call out. Exactly. So what's nice is that it's not a main, it's not a departure from how you define other nodes in Rundeck, and so you're able to kind of take advantage of all of the typical node attribute mechanics, but then just leverage them as part of this job step here. We'll just reiterate this. This job option is how we're able to securely send that enable password. And then we'll revisit here, like the magic, so to speak, of this plugin is being able to define these multiple commands that you want within a single SSH session. And that's where we'll dig into the code for our aspiring plugin developers out there. One of these lesser known job step plugin properties is what's called a dynamic form. And so when we look at the plugin code definition here we're defining the type of plugin. So it's a node step plugin, and I don't need that right now. We define the metadata of the plugin, and then here we have the properties of the plugin. And the main one that I wanted to point out is this string rendering contents display type key is dynamic form. And so it's a string type of plugin property, which is very, very common. If you just have like just a field or even a text box, the property type is typically going to be string. But then when you add this additional attribute of the rendering option, where the display type key is dynamic form, that's what gives you that button to add the custom field. I mean, and you'll see this on plugins that we ship out of the box, like our ServiceNow, I think, ticket update plugin, where you the customer know what specific fields you have in your ServiceNow ITSM, and you want Rundeck to map to those, and so you can define what those particular fields are. So you'll see this plugin type floating around, but it is what allows us to do what I demonstrated here, which is line up these set of commands, execute them in sequence with one another, only execute one once the prior one has completed, but I'll do it all in a single SSH session. So, Mandy, did you share the link in the?
Yep.
You did. Okay, great.
Yep, absolutely.
So this plugin is open source. It's not officially supported by us, but it's on my GitHub account. But I've seen a couple of customers use it, get some value out of it, and we can
always drop your phone number in the chat if you want, Jake.
Yeah,
call you.
Live support.
I'll be paged for different reasons. Add me to an escalation policy for our customers. But this was, so it was written a couple of years ago, but like I said, I've seen a couple of customers use it and get some value out of it. And so if we do see some traction with it, we'll certainly consider officially supporting it as it's still an open source plugin, but officially supporting it on our end. And if you're not native, Ansible user or you want to have a different way of interacting with your network devices, this just provides another option.
Yeah,
this is a far cry from your
you can reach out to us. Like we're happy to hear about any open source plugins that you've come across, whether they're written by Jake or written by the community. The community forums, right, is our place to interact on that stuff. It is, open-ended there, whether you are a commercial customer, non-commercial customer, et cetera, et cetera. Happy to engage in that. If we do see more engagement, on this, it would go through the same process that I went through when I wrote those ROI and job metric plugins. We'd kick it over to our engineering team. We'd probably be completely embarrassed by their skills and ability to make it even better. And then it would fall into the product, and we would talk about it officially on a release notes video.
Indeed. That's awesome.
So yeah, this is really cool. Look forward to engaging on it in the communities.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
definitely got very technical for our release notes. Our usual release notes here.
Yeah,
that's how we roll. Because the code is exposed, you can, as you can imagine, you could hook it up to your Gen AI tool of choice and ask it to enhance it or add features to it, and then submit a pull request to the repo. And there's already been one pull request by a community user that got approved and merged. So encourage the involvement and engagement from the community. And like I said, if we see traction, we'll end up productizing it.
Yeah, sounds good. Let us know what expect scripts from the 1990s you've replaced with this particular plugin. That would be amazing.
Having worked at Logic Monitor, where we did specialize in network devices, I got very familiar with expect scripts, and it was the bane of my existence for a few months. So this is
the state of the art at the time.
Rundeck them.
Exactly. What else were you gonna do in 1999, man?
Right. Exactly.
Awesome. All right, that sounds great. So, if you have anything else you want to tease what's coming, or anything else to chat about before we go today?
Coming up, we have a major enhancement to the runners coming that Jake has been tooling about. We really hope to talk about that at 5.15 in about a month or so. We are also working with quite a few customers on some enhancements to the authoring experience.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So that, broadly speaking, is targeted at, sort of our idea around if-then statements, as well as some visual enhancements, etc. So,
yeah, that'll be a
well,
major upgrade to both the authoring experience, but also it's going to open up some new doors in terms of what the product is natively capable of. And so we're really excited about that. It'll be geared towards the commercial products, at least initially. So for any of our commercial customers listening, if you're interested in talking with us about the use cases of building in conditional logic to the workflows, making it a little bit easier, lowering the barrier to entry for authoring workflows, reach out to us. We'd love to speak, even though we've pretty much wrapped up our designs. We are still always eager for feedback to smooth out any rough edges. So you know where to find us.
And that demo will come later this year, and if it's compelling, it would obviously, like I said earlier on, it would be available the soonest in our SaaS platform. So you would be able to trial that if you haven't trialed yet, and or if you haven't trialed yet, you can trial again and see if it's fit for you. What else do we have coming? I believe there is a enhanced and updated set of S3 plugins on the cusp. Those have been getting worked on for a little while. If you use our S3 plugins today, I think they still rely on the AWS CLI being installed. We've moved away from that, keeping the same or similar functionality. I'm trying to think of what else is out there that's coming up. But
that's plenty. Let's leave them with that.
Sounds like a lot. Yeah, we got plans.
I know Jake and I have full days. It's more.
All right, that sounds great. So we will be ready for 5.15 whenever it hits the road, and we'll see you back then. So thanks for joining us out there, everybody. In the meantime, we'll wish you an uneventful day. Join us on the community forums if you have any questions or you want to reach out, or you have any expect scripts that you want to share with us. We'd love to see that. Everyone loves some tickle.
Kidding. We're kidding. Don't send us your expect scripts.
Who knows? You just don't know who's out there, right? So yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back with the next release. Take care, guys. Thanks a lot.
Talk to you later.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.